Oh, with regard to number 8, I think Freddie's going to largely discuss that because he is an auctioneer. And I'm going to go on 8 is the potential increase in the required bond. The only thing I'm going to say on it, because I do consider myself a consumer advocate, I don't know where the board's going to go with it. Personally, and this may be an area where he and I disagree on, I don't know. At C, I would be in favor of an increase in the bond amount. And I'm assuming y'all are probably just going to do preliminary discussions. I would seriously doubt that you're actually going to act on something for which we had no more notice than just Friday at 10 o'clock, because that doesn't give you any amount of time to get feedback from the auctioneer. So I'm assuming this will just be a preliminary discussion. Having said that, as a consumer advocate, I think the $10,000 is ridiculously low, and the cost of a bond is fairly low. And I do think, in the few seconds I've got left, that the added cost for the bond could certainly be partially offset with looking at his proposal again. And I'm telling you, there's nothing legally to stop charging less than $150 a year for the in-state. You can't do it out-of-state. That's been made clear. In-state license renewals, if you did increase the amount of the bond, which is going to result in increased cost to auctioneers, I certainly think you could provide the break of lessening the licensing fee while you have such large surpluses.
I don't oppose of it, but again, if we're going to increase bond amounts, I think the board needs to consider my proposal of giving the auctioneers a break. We have a ton of money that we could, give the in-state auctioneers an opportunity, because if they want to increase on this side, let them have a break on this side, at least one, and that kind of offset it. Probably make me feel a little better about pumping so much money in to pay attorneys and other things that may not be necessary.
All right, number 8 is the potential increase in the amount of individual and/or business bonds for licensure.
Move that we increase the bond amount for an auctioneer and a business.
Well, it's already 10,000. I'd like discussion.
That's what I'm doing. I'm moving to put it on the floor. I just need a second with the
Well,
amount.
I'd like to move that to be placed on the floor, but I'd like to be heard whenever you do that.
What? Yeah. Once you have a discussion,
I had some discussion. Huh? It's number, I'm sorry. Huh?
It's on the agenda, so we can just discuss.
Okay, well, I'd like to discuss it. A lot of the auctioneers in Louisiana are part-time auctioneers and not full-time auctioneers. And the amount that they're paying now for the bond and also the use to be an auctioneer, for some of these people who work part-time, it's extreme, because they don't do enough auctions to pay for it. And I think it should remain the way it is at this time rather than increasing it. We have not had that many bond forfeitures that call for huge amounts of money in order to activate the bond. And I think it might be a burden to some people who are auctioneers in Louisiana if it's increased.
We'll let them finish first.
Yeah, I am. That's my 2 cents.
Based on the trending nationwide now, we have going on in other states, and also other government entity requirements, namely bankruptcy court, any U.S. government agency. Example, those bonds that you have in place there now, $10,000 bond. The bond amount required in the U.S. District Bankruptcy Court, whatever the bankruptcy estate is appraised at, is what the bond must cover. Period, paragraph. Regardless of what it brings in auction, if it's $1 million value at the time of the announcement, it's $1 million, then the bond is $1 million, which would be a $1,000 bond to cover that. I know for a fact the Louisiana Auctioneer Commission has gone $35,000 for 50. I know that's gone. I understand the Department of Agriculture is looking at their stuff to raise it. And this is a nationwide trend. I mean, $10,000 bond in Louisiana is just enough to get somebody in trouble. You know, and I agree with you that, you know, probably the vast majority of auctioneers in this state are small auctioneers. Well, so be it. They better get used to it because it's fixing to fall in other states. I know for a fact. I was
Well,
told
I'm licensed in
Mississippi's fixing to
Mississippi,
be
and the
there.
bond is $10,000. I'm licensed as an auctioneer. It's $10,000.
It is right now, it's fixing to go up. I've already been told.
Well,
So-
it hasn't gone up yet. I paid
Well, they're waiting on
$10,000.
legislature like we are. Now, what it's going to, I don't know.
And the federal government is of course different. You are under a different standard there, which is why they can pick and choose the amount of bonds that they want. I'm talking about something to be practical to keep people in business so that they can be competitive. And if it's bonds too high and the dues is too high to auction, you're gonna see people falling off the grid that really depend on auctions to maintain a livelihood, and that I'm very much worried about.
Well, my general consent from North Louisiana, 90% of the people I've talked to all want a $50,000 bond, but I've had some people down south, some other board members, say they'd rather see 35,000. I would see go along with $35,000. That would be, if an auctioneer has not had any claims, that bond would be less than $300.
Okay, it has not been increased for real estate brokers. I'm a real estate broker in Louisiana, it's the same. It has not been increased.
Yeah. Yeah, would you like to say how much it is, though?
Well, it's not been increased, though.
I understand.
How much is a real estate bond?
Tell him.
What is it,
There it is, I know that.
It's more than it is here, it's 50,000.
It's double that. And it's done through E&O insurance, but I would argue, I assume I can speak, I know I'm kind of out of order.
But they haven't increased.
And I will stand up, I won't.
Robert, they haven't increased it.
I understand they haven't increased it, Ms. Jacobs, but as you would well know, and you're right, there are auctioneers who struggle, sure, there are real estate brokers who struggle. That bond has been significant for quite some time, and on top of that, as you're well aware of, they also have a $400,000 recovery fund that has to be set aside, and now you're going to lose your license if they ever have to dip into that reserve. The counter argument that I would make, if there's going to be momentum not to increase the bond, and Mr. Sims, I strongly concur with your initiative. I think it's a great idea. I think it's long overdue, to be honest with you. But if that argument is going to be made, then I would suggest the board do as it did a number of years ago before they ever enacted the bond, and go ahead and, you got an enormous amount of money now. You can set it aside into a different account to pay losses. And I think when auctioneers have to cover the cost of other auctioneers' losses, then all of a sudden you'll see that it is a big deal. Now I got one last thing to say, if I may. Mr. Sims, your point is perfect. My first experience on this board was with a company called Durham Auction. Durham, D-U-R-H-A-M, they're out of Mississippi. They fleeced, and that's the word because it's accurate, the city of Kenner out of over $500,000, you remember it,
I remember.
over $500,000, okay? And they lost it, and that involved federal, because they were in, the city of Kenner was entrusted to sell things on behalf of the federal government. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, when they got taken, and they called another auctioneer later, they told him, and I'm quoting, the auctioneer was Dave Gilmore, I doubt he would mind me repeating that, they said they weren't even going to consider him if he didn't post $1 million bond after what happened from that Kenner fiasco. So Mr. Sims, your point is excellent, and I think it would give auctioneers more credibility with governmental entities that quite frankly, I mean, if you're going to have a governmental contract, common sense ought to tell you it's going to be more than 10,000. So, Ms. Jacobs, you make a good argument about struggling auctioneers. There are also struggling real estate brokers, and they're not. Can you imagine going and saying we're going to have 10? I realize they've been increased, but $10,000 is absurd.
Well, I would like to see what the Louisiana Auctioneers Association.
Can't argue with that, but I do,
Things
from
like
my
this,
vantage
they
point.
represent the majority. I'm a member of that. A lot of you all are members. I'd like to see if they could poll their members and see what they think.
Can't really argue
Rather
with
than
that.
just this board passing.
Well, whatever it is, Darlene, we gotta go to the legislature and get it done anyway.
Well,
That's all
I
I'm
realize
saying.
that, but we have to make intelligent decisions for the constituents of the state too.
All the,
And I don't want to see anybody having to give up their license because they can't afford to keep it. Being a real estate broker is different. We work under different volumes. I mean, it's large volume when you're a real estate broker as opposed to an auctioneer.
That's
In my profession, is that we just do, we just auction real property.
Isn't that an E&O policy and not a bond?
And for the Real Estate Commission, yes.
There is
That's
not
it.
issue.
There is an omission. It's different.
Now, if I think about those auctioneers that can't afford the bond as well, but if you think about consumers, if they
Right.
get
Well, I understand that. That's, of course, a good consideration.
Charlie, let me say this, I don't know who they were, but I know this for a fact. I was paying a bond premium instead of to the bonding company for me a bond, and I get this letter in the mail, I think Buster might have been the chairman, where they done away with the bonds and the board would self-insure. Well, that was a real pretty fiasco, because there was two brothers down in New Orleans that laid out an auction down there, I forgot what their name was.
Goldberg.
Who?
Goldberg.
Goldberg.
Right.
If that wasn't a fiasco, it raised condon out of there with about $45,000, and they left the bond there to fight over a $20,000
But I
bond.
think, we really ought to consult the Louisiana Auctioneers Association.
Well, I'm
They
fixing- I'm
represent
getting to
the
that.
majority of auctioneers.
I'm getting to that. I've talked to 5 past presidents of that association. I've talked to 3 current members. And all those wanted a $50,000 bond. Now, I said, don't you think that's a little harsh, a little high? They said, no. Auctioneer makes that bond premium on the first sale he does. And that's true. That's true. Time you get your commission and your buyer's premium, you've made that money to cover that bond and your license.
Counsel, you have a question?
No.
You wanted to say, Counsel?
But I mean, that's what this here be. Now, I mean, why don't you call, what's the girl's name, the president, works for Barbara? Call Wendy up at Barbara Bonnett's, I'll even talk to her, let her poll me. She's the president. Don't let me stand in your way.
Thank you, sir. Simply make a great argument, with limited, suggestions that I think we need to look at it on both sides, as need basis, but you shouldn't just put a stipend on auctioneers, because if the bond is required, then you need to meet the bond even for the bid proposals, like most of them require. But that doesn't have to deal with the basis. And I think we need to kind of, what Darlene says, kind of leave it where it is, and it's, I'm gonna ask these bases, if you need that bond to procure the auction, then hey, guess what, that's what you're gonna do. But we shouldn't just be lifting it up just to lift it up. And it's not based on North Louisiana, it's based on Louisiana. So across the board, that we have to look at this. I mean, Darlene makes an excellent point. And I think every one of us, when we look at it, what you're saying is correct. On the as these bases. Robert made a great suggestion, but when we don't have enough claims to warrant elevating the bond amount, then that's something different. We don't have it. We're not coming here. And the ones that we do are far in between. And there's a few bad apples in every bunch, and I think we would experience that. But at the end of the day, the overall consensus of the auction industry, we're not being sued, and nor are we doing anything fraudulent out there that's bringing claims against our bond. And the ones that we do, we don't go after anyway. But as Julie Mazzola was here, she probably actually would go behind hers.
May I have 20 seconds, or it's up to you?
Sure.
I'd just like to reiterate once again Mr. Sims's comment. My bond, when I was an auctioneer, cost me approximately $27 a year. That's it. You get a 3-year bond for about $94. If you don't have any claim against you, and it's not going to go up 5 times, it doesn't work that way. If it's, yeah, he's acknowledging as much. So it's not going to be like $27 goes to $135. It just doesn't work that way. And I would submit to you that if the increase in the premium, say, goes from 27 to 41, that's probably more in line with what it would cost. If an auctioneer cannot shell out $14 a year, they don't have any business being in this industry, and I would be awfully leery about consigning a couple of pieces of bubble gum to that particular, it's so nice to get a few nods that somebody agreed with it. Trust me, it's so rare in this board that I have to relish the moment, so.
Actually, you took the words out of my mouth.
I've never had
Oh,
a
well.
claim, I've never had a claim on my bonds, and I've been bonded for a very, very long time. Not only in this, but in other things. I've never had a claim. My bond is about like Robert's. I paid $54 for 2 years. And I checked last week, a $50,000 bond would cost me $101 a year. A $35,000 bond would cost me $61. It's cheap insurance. So, I mean, this isn't something that's gonna break an auctioneer. He might not like it, but it ain't gonna break it. And I mean, about all the Saturday night auctioneers, I know the good ones, most of them average $4,000 to $6,000 a week in commission. So, I don't see where it's gonna hurt anybody. But I mean, I agree with Freddie, I'm sure there's some that's struggling, and I agree with Darlene. Maybe we need to look at a sliding scale. So if we're gonna do that, then maybe we need to look at a sliding scale for licenses.
You can't have taxation without representation. I think everybody's got to know what's coming up.
That's fine, I'm not
If
arguing
this
that.
board goes and passes something about other people being given a chance to speak. I
Or
just
let
don't
go,
think
let's
that's,
send send out a mailer to all auctioneers, tell them to respond. Make it mandatory response,
Good luck.
and see what they think about that. I mean, they ain't half of them ain't gonna answer it anyhow.
Well, you already know that.
But I'll give you Kelly's phone number if you want.
I have.
You mean Wendy?
I mean, excuse me.
I have all.
That's all I got.
So we need a motion to maybe,
Table.
We do have a motion right now from Jim to increase the bond amount for auctioneers and auction businesses.
But it's gotta go before the
that's what I
legislature.
said, that, and I mean, I'm all for maybe giving the LA an opportunity to respond to this before we do raise it.
And we got enough time to wait till January before we gotta give something with the legislature.
Yeah. Well, legislature meets in March, I believe. So.
Move
I think-
this be transferred to the January agenda for the firm decision to be made in the meanwhile that, the LAA and I'll even include Robert and Freddie's Association. Their
That's
members be
lawful.
polled for any public comment that they may have. And then a public, declaration be issued, put on the website that will be discussed. Any auctioneer that wants to attend this board in January, please plan on doing so and voice their yea or nay to the situation.
And I second that. I didn't second
Yeah,
the third.
yeah, for discussion.
Okay, we have the discussion, and now we're putting it on the agenda for January 28th, right?
Yeah.
And I'll second that.
23rd.
What's the next?
Whenever the next meeting is.
That's the
Right,
tentative.
You're gonna vote on that
We gotta
soon.
vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections?